Welcome into Actual Play Entertainment Presents episode 40 of the Two-Headed Serpent, an epic action-packed campaign for Pulp Cthulhu. I missed something there. Globe-spanning. An epic action-packed globe-spanning campaign. I've already said it 39 times. I should know it by now. For Pulp Cthulhu, published by Chaosium. My name is Dave, and I am the keeper. And I'm going to be nice and not say any names. And I'm just joined by three lovely gentlemen. Mike.
Aww.
Wow.
Joe
Respect.
and Kurt. Well,
Hi,
it's
Dave. Buddy.
sort of an episode. It's the after party. I'm going to dub in some club music here.
Oh, you don't even need to dub it in now. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'll just keep going, guys.
No, we're good. And
Passes
viewership,
out because he can't breathe.
and viewership gone. But yeah, we thought we'd do, it's not really an episode. We finished up the last time. Hopefully you've listened to episode 39. If you're just jumping ahead to 40, I don't know, who does that? Does anyone do that? It's like a
Spoiler alert.
You're like a sociopath.
Yeah, spoiler, we all die. Ruined.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine that? That'd be
We
awesome.
warned them. We warned them.
Let's start at the last one and go backwards.
We warned him.
Yeah, we thought we would do a little episode, a little hangout, and talk about the campaign and what we liked, and if there's any questions and all that kind of stuff. Maybe we'll answer some questions that those of you who have been listening, maybe you've had these questions and we've answered them for you. Yeah, sound fun to you, fellas?
Sounds fun to me.
All right, well, let's get it rolling straight right off the bat. Straight, fresh in your minds. Episode. Okay, hold on. Before I actually go any further,
Mhm.
I thought we'd go longer than 39. In all honesty, or 40 now.
Oh, really?
What?
I never thought we'd
What?
hit 40.
Yeah.
I thought we were headed to 80.
I was checking out other people who have done this before we started, and I saw people in like 70s, 80s, 90s. I never listened to them because it's kind of boring. Maybe that's why they stretched it out that far.
Yeah. Really?
Maybe
So you
those
thought we would go
players-
further? I'm confused.
I thought we would hit 50 at least.
Oh.
But you
Well,
guys
I've
did
never
miss some
really like played in a campaign where we just like kept going, to be honest. Like all the other campaigns we've played, I guess they've been a lot shorter. So for me, this was like the longest campaign I've been a part of.
Yeah, I guess that we've done some home D&D that went quite a while.
Yeah, but never.
I don't think
Not
this long.
No, maybe not. huh?
39 sessions long.
That's
We
pretty, it is
barely,
pretty
as
long.
D&D players, we barely got up to past level 16, really, ever.
That's a lot, though.
That's super high, but like
I think our
That's not
attention span
39.
is to blame.
39 sessions, I don't think.
When I listen to other people play these games, and not necessarily Two-Headed Serpent, there's, I don't know, man, there's just a lot of exposition, and a lot of people feel the need to really like tell, don't show. I don't know. Like, I feel like our characters kind of evolved over the game through our actions and through little like short interactive periods. It was really rare that we had like entire episodes of just role play between the three of us sitting in a room and shooting the shit and talking about our backstories. I think that's what tends to drag these things on. You know, when you try to have a 40-minute interview with Rose or with Meadam, or like any of those interactions with NPCs could have lasted way longer.
Yeah, right. They could have.
Mm-hmm.
I partially blame myself because I think I would get like, there's something to do. Why are we standing
Yeah.
around talking? We have to go do something. And like, maybe
Yeah, there is a
I
bit
would
of that.
project onto my character, like, come on, let's do something.
There is a bit of that fine line too, where you want to keep the action going. You want to have it, so you don't want people listening to be like, "Okay, fucking, let's go, get on with it." But you do want to role play and
Honestly, I wasn't
Get
really
you
thinking
to
about
know.
other people. It was more myself. I was like, come on, let's
Just-
go.
just myself.
I want to shoot something. Like,
you know what's funny, because I think some of that is why, like you're saying, we've been hitting our download goals ahead of time. We're doing okay for a bunch of randos throwing out a podcast, and I think a lot of it is
Mhm.
because we are just playing. We're not necessarily trying to. We're playing for ourselves. We're not trying to create something that isn't there for other people.
yeah,
Does
I
that make
see what you're
sense?
saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
I don't
sense.
know.
This doesn't feel any different from the online games we were playing during the pandemic when we just started playing online for the first time. Like, it's just the same thing. It's getting together with the boys for me
Yeah.
and just playing.
Yeah, 100%.
Totally.
Which is what I think is fun, which is what captures our chemistry and our charm, is that we have been playing together forever. We all know each other pretty well.
Mhm.
We're not just four different people crammed in and trying to force things, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
And for good or for ill, like that's just us. Like I don't think we could play another way, even if we wanted to. I think that, between some of us might find it boring, or else it might just feel forced, like I can definitely imagine the player who feels like, okay, we're meeting this NPC for the first time, Joshua, meet him. We'd better like milk every last fucking drop out of this interaction, instead of, I think, really legitimately like playing to what our characters would want to do and need to know inside of that
Right.
exchange, right? Like I think that we really stayed true to our characters and didn't get out of character to the point where we were thinking about, I'm trying to put on a show. You know what I mean?
See.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or like metagaming a bit too much, where you're
Yeah.
just like, I need to know everything to make my next decision
Right.
the best decision possible.
I think from the feedback I've heard from people on Reddit or online or from people in person that have listened to us, our chemistry, I think, is the first thing. That, and I don't know anything about geography, comes up as well. But it's definitely the
I'm
chemistry.
glad you're taking the brunt of that for all of us.
Yeah. Because
So funny.
I just, like it's good chemistry. Like they're at the table with us and we're just sitting around shooting the shit, playing the game.
Mhm.
We
Yeah,
do try.
it's fun.
It's still got to be tense and exciting. It can't be too much, because I've listened to podcasts as well where it's constant jokes and constant banter,
Yeah, but-
and there's no tension, and I think that sucks as well. There's a fine balance, and I hope we've hit it somewhat.
But I think that's just like, I don't know. Do you guys feel like you're forcing tension and trying to make sort of
No.
like, oh, I better
No.
make a big swing here because I need a dramatic moment, Like,
Honestly, I
don't
like to
think so.
just scare myself as much as possible.
yeah.
Like I like to like get into what Dave's describing and almost think about it as like a horror movie, and
Mhm.
like, and try to like just be in the moment and scared most of the time. Cause I think like Cthulhu, like Pulp Cthulhu, but Cthulhu is just about being scared shitless. Like you're like, that's why insanity plays.
Yeah.
Your sanity plays such a big role in the game. It's like, it's supposed to be scary. And I want to feel like the fear that my character is feeling.
Right,
more
which
or
is one of
less.
the things I like about these games, as opposed to like a D&D. A D&D is like, okay, here's an encounter, and I don't want to knock D&D. I have fun playing it, but it's different in the sense of like, oh, it's an encounter. Cool, I'm going to pull out my sword and wade into battle, and I'm just going to roll the dice 40 fucking times until someone dies. There's no like, holy shit. There's never any of that like, oh my God, what are we doing? We got to get the fuck out of here. I need
Well,
to.
and characters roll through that battle with, 6 trolls or whatever and come out the other side just completely unscathed, right?
Yeah, you got-
rest
It's
you
a
gotta
and
different
heal
type
up,
of
and
gameplay
there's no-
entirely.
yeah,
You're thinking
yeah.
about
Yeah.
how you can like use your character sheet and the abilities that you chose, because that's the fun part of D&D is like, oh
Yeah.
man, I can pick this ability with that ability and combine them, and I
Yeah,
can do
it'll
this
work
on
well
this
with
turn, and on
this.
the next turn I'll do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the fun part of like.
Well,
D&D.
and you're trying to
But-
tell a story,
Yeah.
but you're trying to tell a heroic story, and there's just there's nothing too heroic about Cthulhu.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. It's not heroic.
It's just the descent.
Yeah. Your
Just
characters,
try to avoid.
when your characters
insanity.
were the best when we started the first episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. My Nicole got pretty good near the end.
Yeah, your skills
I
went
had
up.
like 12 sanity, but
yeah.
Maynard really got good after the first bullet hit him in the head.
Yeah, that's when you started rolling, right?
what
Had a good reality check.
What a wild way to start the campaign. I've done it a couple times, is gone back and listened to those first few episodes, because it's just crazy to think of how close to death you were.
It is fun.
Yeah.
There's
So fun.
So
Speaking of death, Dave, I think you were asking us about the last episode before we got on that tirade.
yeah, how
That
did
tangent.
so the last episode, it ended well, let's just say there's no sequel to Maynard, Russ, and Lucian. There won't be a sequel.
There might be a part 2 that's a prequel.
Yeah, maybe a prequel. But
There's
how?
no "Where are they now" section of this conversation.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Where are they now? Like the Breakfast Club or whatever. Yeah, that's hilarious. So how did you guys all ended up dying? Was that a net negative? Did you guys feel like, what the fuck? What are you doing? How did you feel coming out of the last episode? Let's start there.
For Maynard, I felt super creeped out because I lost a roll and was forced to stare down through that clear barrier into the demon's soul or whatever. And Maynard made this like real connection, with the thing that he's been seeking. And I think was like, realizing his destiny and horrified at the exact same time. But then he died like that. And as the player, I'm not sure what that meant for Maynard. I don't know which way he went.
Right.
Because his final thoughts weren't on the right side.
Did you lose like 90 sanity right at the end?
Yeah. We rolled at the beginning and I bumped my luck all the way up to 99. My sanity, I lost pretty much all my sanity and ended up down at 7 or something, I think, on that last roll.
Yeah, because it was a D100 that Dave had to roll, and you rolled like in the 90s. For the sanity loss. Like it was, like Maynard's brain just broke.
Yeah, he was like
in his last like minute of life, his brain broke.
And it felt right. It was like Maynard knew just enough for that connection to break him. That's how it felt.
Nice.
Yeah, let's honor the Cthulhu mythos here. So that was, you're saying, Dave, a great old one? Like that was like one of the
it says
OG
basically
Cthulhu gods?
Heroes attempting to avoid looking down at the horror that is the great old one should make a power roll to resist the temptation to do so. Failure provokes a sanity roll for gazing upon Gatatanothwa. 1d10 for save, 1d100 for the loss.
That's crazy.
Which is the standard. I've looked at other campaigns and, Call of Cthulhu and all that. You see one of those motherfuckers. It's a D1D10 or a D1D100.
Jesus.
A D1D1, whatever that made sense.
Yeah,
it
is crazy.
I think you added 1D100.
Yeah.
One of them.
I don't think I can imagine. I honestly kind of assumed we were going to die because I couldn't reasonably imagine how we would ever get out of this. Like it would have seemed. I get that it was Pulp Cthulhu, and if there was ever a Cthulhu game where someone might have made it back to the portal and ended up back and somehow survived, like this is probably
like
the kind of game. Yeah, kind of the game where it would. But I just assumed we were all toast, especially with my character had no sanity, no health, no luck. I couldn't believe he made it as far as he did.
If you make it back, it talks about a luck roll for the portal to even be active.
Oh my
God. You
God.
could literally be stuck there. And I thought about that. I was like, what if they tried? I didn't really want to do that. I thought that would be unsatisfying. Say you went in, you took everybody out, you escaped from the Citadel, and you would make it, and then the portal, and you just fail a luck roll, and now you're stuck there. I was like, no, that kind of sucks. Yeah. Wah, wah. So I was gonna get rid of that and have you
just
go back.
die.
And then I also thought maybe I should have Moo appear, like finish its phase back into reality, and then you're basically on I was like, would I make it like a floating island? And you guys would have to get off, and then it would explode or something. I didn't really know. I was kind of playing it by the seat of my pants at that point. I didn't really know how it was going to go.
Yeah, the only way that I thought, by the time we got to the basement, it seemed like we were all going to die. But once we got down there, it occurred to me that maybe when we were in that sort of, I don't know, almost like a cathedral room or whatever it was above where we fought a smoke monster, if we had to set the half terrain device off and just got out of there, put it on a timer and hid it in a corner and just blew everything up, I thought maybe we could have survived, but I don't know.
It goes because that's the other thing too. I was like, because you guys talked about sending it outside the Citadel.
Yeah.
And all this other stuff. And I was like, no, that's not going to cut it. And then they talked about sending it inside. And remember those little, almost like those little rats that were like in the medical thing? If anytime during battle in the Citadel, if one of you went down, they basically come out of the vents and take your body and drag you away to that medical to fix you up and heal you. And I thought, okay, well, maybe if they put the half-terrain device somewhere where it would be anticlimactic or it wouldn't work. We're just going to put it in this hallway here and then fuck off. I would have the rats come and take it, and then that would cause the situation to be like, oh, wait a second, we can't do that. Now what the fuck was that?
Can I ask you guys something? Do you think that we actually won? Like, do you think that we
Yes.
stopped the Serpent people plot and Moo reappearing? Did we win?
I think we did. I think that setting off the Halfdarang device inside the castle, right on top of the old one, was a huge setback for both sides of the two-headed serpent. But that's just my feeling.
Speaking of the half-drink device, you guys actually want to know what it is?
Yeah.
Because that was always
For
kind of
sure.
a little bit of a mystery. Like, is it a bomb? And it's got like this steampunk thing. So basically, where are we here? It talks about it's a powerful weapon. It's capable of completely destroying everything in an area between 1 and 10 miles in diameter, centered on the device. It creates a gate through which a portion of Thughua, the fiery great old one that resides near the star Fomalhaut, is summoned. So it comes
This is
through,
crazy.
reducing the area to little more than a glass-lined crater. So when that opens, a great old one that resides on a star comes through that gate and just utterly annihilates everything. And then it goes away.
Had there already
Wow.
been a Halfdarang device that went off in Borneo then that created that crater that was sheared round?
Didn't you guys set? Well, we, because I was there.
I love how you associate yourself with Russ this much. It's great.
Yeah, I know, not Christopher because he's gone now. But like, didn't we set one off there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was
Ourselves?
afterwards. When we first went through the jungle and ended up in that crater, that's exactly how Dave described it. It was like sheared off, clean.
Oh, no,
And-
that
Right.
That was something else?
One of those planet eaters, those giant purple worm things, the doles. It came out of
Mhm.
the ground there
Oh,
and
Oh,
sheared off the side
shit.
of the cliff, and that's what created that
Right.
giant hole.
Because we had crossed over into the Dreamlands at
Yeah,
that
the
point.
Dreamlands that had come into our world.
holy crap.
Right.
Okay.
Through the portal
Whoa.
that Christopher jumped into?
Well,
Can
not
we-
necessarily through the portal. Going
Okay.
through that part, basically, the Inner Knight. I'm going to find that part. To summarize it, the Inner Knight was trying to summon terrible things, and they thought by doing that they needed to sacrifice people. Let me find that part in the book if you guys want to talk about something else for a second while I find that part.
Well, let's talk
Well,
about how Mike. What you thought of the last moments of
Oh yeah, that's
the
right.
last episode?
No, I mean, I think that I found it super satisfying. I can't believe it occurred to me to try singing the whatever it is, British national anthem or whatever.
That was pretty dope.
I loved that.
I was thinking about that today. I was thinking, why did he know that song? That's what I
you
was
know,
thinking
man,
today when I was at work. Why did he know that?
I have no idea, except that I spent a lot of time in Lucien's head, and I really enjoyed being there. I loved this character. I loved the game. And like I said, I thought we were all going to die anyways. So to die like that was great.
I'm 1,000,000% certain that that's exactly what Lucien would have done in that situation.
Yeah, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked your reaction to Maynard telling you to set the bomb to 30 seconds, and you had that brief like, wait, what? Why? And you're like, oh right, yes, it
Yeah, that
has to
was
be
good.
that way or whatever. And then,
Yeah.
oh right, yes, of course, that's the way it must be, or something like that. And then the clicking of your heels, just like that image was just burned into my brain. I was like, that's exactly what he would do. He would stand up proper like and click his heels and be
Yeah.
all brave for the next 30 seconds. And
Yeah, the
That's-
old stiff upper lip.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. I like, and then what's funny is like all I could think of at that moment was how great it was, like seeing like Maynard push Russ up over the ledge, and then Russ is trying to like pull Maynard back up, but Maynard sees the old one and he won't come back up, and like you were so frantic to like save each other. Yeah,
mhm.
And I was
man.
even trying to give you the option of like,
That's
if
great.
if one of you wants to sacrifice themselves, you can boost someone up. But you guys weren't having any part of that.
Well, it's kind of what happened, wasn't it? Because
It was,
you
yeah.
told Maynard, Kurt, that
Oh yeah, yeah.
if you want to spend your turn helping the other one up, I'll give it to you in the next turn. And then I was like, well, let me do that because I was pretty much useless. And Kurt was the one that had the that gravity device.
Yeah.
So I was like, you should get Kurt up there because he has something that could actually be useful.
Forget
But
everything I said.
I guess Russ did kind of sacrifice himself to get Maynard up.
That gravity cube was
And then
a
you went
banger.
back down. Right?
And then why did I go back down? Did I choose to go back down, or was I drawn down by the old one or something? I don't remember why.
Was it for the half during?
No, because the half terrain was.
Yeah, no, that never went down, I don't think.
No, Russ had it though. I think it was. I think he went
But
down to
didn't
get it, and then
Maynard
you
boost Russ up, and you came
That's
up
what
with
I
the
thought.
half Durang device, and then you
Russ didn't.
died.
Russ stayed in the hole
Russ stayed in the hole?
the whole time. He couldn't get up, and then remember,
We're going to sound
Kurt
like
was-
idiots to the people
Kurt
that
was
just finished
saying,
listening to
like,
the episode. They're going to be like, they don't remember.
that Meatloaf was like struggling on his tummy a little bit once he got to the top of the ledge.
Oh, yeah, right. He was tipping on his... Yeah, right.
I was getting high centered on my tummy.
That's amazing.
I said it.
Yeah,
Oh
I think
my
you
God.
came back down to help Russ.
Yeah, that's
Something
right.
like that.
Yeah,
what it was.
and then you had to make a roll.
That's what it was. You came back down to help, and that's right. Oh, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike, do you think that we won?
You know what's funny? I felt so good about how it ended. Like, it just ended in such a kind of just a glorious mess.
Tragic.
That at the time I felt really positive about it.
Tragically
When I
glorious.
think about it now, though, I don't know if we actually would have, like, we didn't actually end the Inner Night. They're still
No.
around. They're still an organization, right? So I just think that we probably, stopped their plans for another century. But yeah,
That's a successful mission, I think,
it's
right
pretty
there.
successful, I guess. Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, or if this is the wrong way to think about it, but because this is set in 1933, in a way, I feel like if our characters die honorably, that it was that's just a good way for it to have unfolded, and they were
Mhm.
always dead anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because I'm thinking about, like, we were talking about before we started recording about the Delta Green Handlers book. And I feel like our little story is in the Delta Green, the
Oh, yeah,
timeline
yeah.
where they go in 1933,
Yeah.
3 brave, investigators saved
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
world
shut
temporarily.
down the Citadel
Mm-hmm.
and stop them from gaining the power. Yeah, that's funny.
We were
So
pretty
it's
brave.
definitely
It's
a
a pretty
success.
unlikely group in the end. To lose our muscle, Christopher, and we need to talk about that.
Wait,
Oh, yeah, we
definitely
will.
talk
We
about
will.
that.
But like and then
not.
to replace him with this like hyper suspicious, Weasley detective to accompany Meatloaf and a skinny British stereotype through like this whole campaign. It's just crazy that we made it as far as we did.
And Russ, who went from like the creepy guy hanging out in the bushes outside the Caduceus building to like team leader
Yeah.
by the end of it.
I know, right?
Quite the transition.
Wild.
It was a great
Character
transition.
arc.
I loved it.
I actually thought the end was, it was amazing. Like, I kept
Nice.
running it back in my head. I really enjoyed it. And like I said earlier, like, I just kind of like scaring myself. And I thought, like, what would be the scariest thing? I think Russ temporarily losing sanity to the point where he was obsessed with the old one. Is that what it was, Dave? An old one?
Yeah.
Yeah, a great old
down
one.
below, and just wanting to get to it
Mhm.
for whatever turns it was. It was like 4 turns or 6.
I like that. That was
It
fun.
was 4.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I thought it'd be creepy for him to to want to get to it so bad that his hands started bleeding, and then he just, because of those, you said there was like voices that he couldn't really figure out in his head. Remember, you're like, oh, you hear all these voices, but they don't really sound like it. You
Yeah.
said it sounded like whales talking or
Just
singing or something, like
sounds,
woo,
yeah.
or whatever. Like, and then him like just like banging his face against the impenetrable like layer to get to it. Like, I thought that was weird and creepy.
Totally.
And then like looking up at Maynard confused. Like, that was his last moment, was destroying himself and then being confused about what was going on.
Mhm.
and then Maynard's
And then-
brain.
And then looking up at Maynard and seeing him like just click
Yeah.
and break, and knowing the end was there. Like, it was just, it was awesome.
Just hearing Lucian singing.
Yeah, and then you hear Lucian singing in the background on top of it. None of it made sense.
Nope. None of it made any sense.
And suddenly it all just went black.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it too. I was worried. I don't know if worried, because I didn't think you guys would be like upset at the ending, but I was like, I wonder how they feel about it. That everyone just got annihilated.
As long as your characters die in an awesome way, you know? Like Christopher.
And I think, like you said, you guys won.
We did?
Yeah,
I think
we won.
so.
Okay.
All right, there you go. We
Are
won.
we going?
Good job.
All
I
right.
think it's official.
Are we
Good job,
segueing
everybody.
straight to Christopher?
You could let's
Okay.
have it out.
Speaking of dead characters.
Yeah. For our listeners, you can imagine how many times we've talked this over, but let's have it out one last time.
So what happened was Maynard killed Christopher.
Going back and listening to it again too, I'm like, oh yeah, Maynard was totally planting the seeds about, maybe that's Iceland. Where was it on the map again? It was Iceland. Huh?
Yeah, was that Iceland? I hear Iceland's lovely this time of year.
Do you feel a cold
Thank you, Dave.
breeze
Thanks for
coming
saying
through the
that.
portal? Is there a cold breeze?
I also went back and listened, and I felt like Maynard moved on rather quickly too. Like there didn't seem to be a lot of options to help Russ out, and Russ was down there like still alive, and Maynard was kind of like moving on with his next turn.
Yes.
I just figured from Dave's voice that there was no chance to Russ, and I wasn't going to die in there too. So
I
I remember-
absolutely loved that part where he's like, you could tie it around your waist, and you're just like, no. Maynard just shakes his head like, no.
Yeah.
I feel like it
you
went
said
on
that
for
tongue in cheek. You could tie it around your waist.
it went on for an uncomfortably long period of time too. Like it's not like it was a quick death. Like I feel like you were down there for 20 minutes of recording time where we just tried to I'm gonna throw him a knife.
The most pathetic attempts to save Christopher. Yeah. Like, here, I have a knife.
Are
I'll
you
just
trying to
drop
kill
it.
him with that knife?
Is it in the sheath? Is it sheathed? No. Just open blade. I'll just drop it near him. Hopefully it lands.
Okay,
close.
why did you throw the knife down? Did you think he was gonna it was to kill himself? That's why you threw the knife down, right? So we could end it quickly?
Yeah, Kurt, tell us what you were thinking.
It was so he could fight the purple worm, obviously.
The planet destroyer.
Here's your dagger.
I mean, the real question here is why would you jump through the portal?
Okay, it's worth asking.
He thought he was going to Iceland.
Exactly.
Okay,
I
did
thought-
you actually 100% think you were going to
I did.
Iceland?
I did 100%. Yep. Because the seeds were planted, there was foreshadowing, hinting at that the whole episode.
And Maynard watered those seeds and tended to the crops.
I
and-
wanted it to be
and
Iceland.
fertilized them.
Dave gave me one chance and I didn't recognize it. He said, "Oh, without looking?"
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
And I didn't clue into it. I will admit that was my fault. Other than that, I blame everything on Kurt.
That's
Did
fair.
you, and not as Christopher, but as Joe, were you upset that Christopher died? I think you
Not at
wanted to
all.
play him a little bit, didn't you?
You liar.
I
You
really
were
enjoyed
so-
Christopher, but I thought it was kind of funny.
Right.
Like you move on, you can make another character. Like, you know, you can
Yeah.
always have fun playing another character. But I really like Christopher, and I think it was tragically hilarious the way he died. I think Maynard helping but not helping was funny, and I don't know. No,
Yeah, it was.
I don't. No regrets.
Nice. And I like
Yeah.
that we got to bring Russ in. Even though, we did that little Servants of the Lake and
Yeah.
trying to figure out what we wanted to go with it. I think bringing Russ in was fun. We've had a few people
Oh yeah, for sure.
when we did that thing with When the Wolf Comes with Ian, and he was listening to it and he was like, I thought I was familiar. And then when you brought up the beans, he's like, wait a second. He's the dude from that other recording. That's amazing.
And that was a fun recording as well.
The beans. That was good.
Servants of the Lake. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. The paranoia really came out. And that's what I liked about Russ. I liked the whole, he'd always sit behind the driver. He'd have his gun. He would get mad if other people didn't have their guns out already. Yeah, I liked that.
The inner monologue was amazing.
Yeah, that was fun. I don't remember how that came up, but I'm glad we rolled with it.
Yeah, Russ was fun. I'm glad he's dead though. I didn't really see much of a future
Probably not.
with Russ. No, he was going out with the serpents.
I'm just glad. I thought at one point that you and Lucian, I was going to say come to blows, but I thought you might actually try to kill Lucian at one point.
I did too. I was scared of that.
At what point were you closest?
When
When we were
before I
on
killed.
Moo?
Yes.
What's that, Dave? You have your hand up?
I have my hand up. I'm going to, what is on the roof in India after killing the dreamer?
Correct.
Really?
Yeah. Gold star
Huh.
for Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, because I think I had the gun pointed at your head with the
Yes,
hammer
you
cock.
did.
So yeah, I think
Yeah, you did.
I
For some
could've
reason,
I had an itch and accidentally pulled the trigger. Or
Yeah.
something.
Which is what like we always say, the dice tell their story. You
Mhm.
broke sanity there and failed your roll, and we had to roll on the madness table, and you got that one where you basically like your personality reverted. Like there was all sorts on there. Like violence is one of them. And I don't really know how we could have gotten away from it if you had rolled violence and you have your gun pointed at Lucian and said, how Mike
Right.
isn't making a new character for the next session.
Yeah.
So
That was another enjoyable session. Was that part running up the stairs,
Lucian
and
discovering
then,
the fangs.
with Mike on the roof, and I
And-
trying to hide it. Yeah, because Lucian was terrified because he had just felt his fangs come in or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
in the stairwell.
That's
That's why I
right.
didn't follow you up.
You lost some baby teeth and grew in some fangs. Yeah.
That was my single favorite episode. I just like the visual of it, like the way that Dave described the people like congealing together into these monsters.
Yeah.
And then you've got the queen mummy like floating over everybody and being stuck in the stairwell, and then you making the decision to just blast her. And I really didn't think that you were gonna, and I don't know why I didn't, but I just like, I loved that because I had already made such an investment into Lucian's relationship with the queen mummy and his role there that I was like, oh, this is like the best thing ever that Joe did this, because now Lucian just gets to go just that much further afield.
Off the deep end.
Yeah, just off the deep end. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that was my single favorite episode. What about you guys? Did you guys have a favorite episode?
I think
The
that
last
one was up
episode.
there for me as well, because in this exact scene that you're describing, Maynard was like down on the street amongst the crowd of people as the Dreamers floating above and like congealing them all. So it was like this terrifying mosh pit that Maynard's trying to like worm his way out of as people are being like pulled into this blob of bodies.
Did you think you were going to get pulled into?
Yeah, I honestly wasn't sure if I was going to make it there.
Yeah. I'm surprised you did.
That was fun because you're not supposed to split the party, but when we split the party there, I think the mental visual of it all, with Maynard outside fighting the crowd, Lucian in the stairwell, and Russ on the roof. I don't know. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
It is cool. And I don't think that Maynard would have survived that if you hadn't shot the queen when you did. If she had a couple more
That's a good
turns to
point.
finish that, I think I was in big trouble.
Actually, that's a question for Dave. Like, how close in that episode were any of us to dying? It felt like Russ was pretty exposed to a pretty powerful serpent, and Maynard down below, like prime target for being crushed by this congealed conglomerate of flesh monster thing.
I would say Russ with the battle, because you drilled her with the shoddy, which was a good move. You almost killed her right off the bat. And you saved against that rack spell, which basically gives you like the crazy internal bleeding, and you can't do anything because you're just racked with pain. So it was a key save there. Maynard, to lift the back of it, Maynard wasn't in any danger. I didn't want those Ilgathor or whatever they were called to kill you guys. I wanted them to just be there for tension and for fear. Basically what it was, storyline wise, was those creatures, the spirits of them are what protect Mew. They're the guardians that no one can get past. You can't get past them into Mew unless you have the scepter and the crown, and then you can control them. And that's when she opened the gate and summoned them out, and then their spirits came out and formed their own kind of bodies with the people that were around.
That's weird as hell.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's super weird. But I
So
didn't
like their spirits, like they came out and formed into something that our world could be of some sort of like creature. Like they didn't have a physical form, and they came to our world like, okay, we'll use what's present to form into something, which was like a sea of people.
Yeah, like their spirits or whatever. I can't remember exactly how they
weird.
described it. But yeah, no, Russ was the only one in danger. And then I think, depending on how it would have went, like maybe if the Dreamer had taken out Russ and then, Lucian would have went up, she would have tried to get him to, like she tried to convince you to shoot Russ at one point up there.
Lucian was probably, I had probably set him up for failing a check and going to the dark side and having to make up a new character that way. Like I think that was probably, there was a chance of that happening. In my mind, there was a chance of that happening. I was ready for you to say, okay, well, you either get to act now as a servant of the dreamer or make up a new character.
She would have killed you. You were useless to her at that point.
Mhm.
Once she had the sword or the scepter and the crown and the gate was open, no, she had no use for any of you at that
It
point.
makes me sad to know that she wasn't as invested in our relationship as I was. Hey, can I say though, like what you said there, Joe, about how great it was when we were all sort of separated. Props to Dave, because that's one of Dave's superpowers, I find, is anytime we're split in any way, you have this ability, Dave, to like cut from one to the other.
It's
at
fun. I enjoy it.
exactly the right time.
It's so true,
we're
Mike. The
Always
right time.
left. We're
Yeah.
always left. Like, I'm just gonna off.
Yeah, you're about to
and then-
desperately save yourself.
And we're gonna go to this
yeah,
train ride
exactly.
on the ground
Yeah.
street.
Like, I had this
and-
great plan. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Never mind.
yeah. So yeah, props, Dave. I've
I
always
appreciate
enjoyed
that. Thank you.
I never expect it coming. I'm like an idiot. You always cut away like that.
I'm ready for it. I'm like, oh, once here it comes. And there's been a bunch of times where,
Oh, is he getting excited? Oh, let's crush that.
yeah,
that's what it is.
you guys called me. I should go through and do a count of how many times I was called a prick, how many times I was called an asshole.
You love it. You know you're doing a good job when
It's
you
a badge
do it.
of honor. I take it and I wear it with pride. I remember there was one, I can't remember the exact cut, but I cut away from you, Mike, and you were just like, no.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh my God.
So, what was the favorite episode, Dave?
Oh, my favorite episode. Oh man, maybe the Naked Seance.
I was gonna say that.
Oh,
yeah,
that was a classic.
Because it
Yeah,
came out,
that
it
was a
just
good
came
one.
out of nowhere.
It
like
really
they
did.
do.
Yeah.
You
as
never
one
know
does.
when a naked seance
Every
is going to
Naked
hit you.
Seance I've been a part of has just come out of nowhere. But yeah, I thought that was I thought it was super fun. I liked there's like, I didn't really, like you record an episode and you're done and you think about it. There was never really a time where I was like, oh, I don't know if this one hits. There was a few where I was like, I hope we got some action in there. And then as we go through and do the editing and get it back to the producer and listen to it, I'm like, man, that was a good episode. I never really thought, oh, that one sucked. Oh, hopefully we don't lose all our viewers on this episode or anything,
right.
anything like that. But yeah, the Naked Seance, the Queen Mummy on top. I enjoyed Snake Lake, that was in the early ones. I really enjoyed that one going down and Maynard getting blasted with the ray. And then,
Yeah, that
going
was a
back
good
to the
episode.
dice telling the story again, when Lucian failed that sanity check and became obsessed with the Queen Mummy. That started that whole
Yeah.
snowball
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true.
of being obsessed with the mummy. That
became,
went
like,
literally
a
right to
part
the
of
end.
his core character,
Yeah.
like trait. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
And you played Lucian so well throughout with that instability, because like we never really knew if you were going to switch over to the dark side and join the mummy, or if you were going to lose your mind. And you were
Yeah.
often like exasperated, and it was like, this really makes sense for what this guy's going through right now.
And
you know?
Yeah.
as a game master, it was great. It's like you handed me that gift. Like when you got the staff back, and you had that vision of someone walking through India and the markets. Like none of that's in the book. I was like, okay, I'm going to hit Mike with that.
Oh, cool.
And when she came and visited you and when you gave her the scepter, like none of that stuff was in the book. I was just like, I'm just going to keep playing off her fucking with Lucian and being in his mind. She's called the Dreamer. Why shouldn't she be able to get into his mind more?
Oh, that's awesome. I had no idea you did that. That's great.
That was a gift you handed me with a bow on it. I liked it.
Well, it was a lot of fun for sure. And I didn't know what he was going to do half the time. Like episodes where it seemed like, Mike's, Lucian's more invested in the group. Wait a second. Lucian's now talking about like bringing all the snake people together. Like, yeah, I really did feel like I just kind of in the moment, like right now, how's he feeling? Yeah. So I didn't know from one episode to the next what he was going to do. It was so much fun to play. Oh my God.
I also enjoyed the when Mrs. Chan got killed, and I was going to ask Kurt about that. How did you feel about Mrs.
That was a
Chan
good
getting
one.
killed?
That legitimately hurt, actually. I took that personally. Yeah, I didn't feel good about that at all.
Took it personally.
Well, you knew one of him or Heathcliff was going to go down. And I didn't want to go with Heathcliff because I did like playing on the fact that I couldn't do the accent worth of shit. And you guys love to rub that in my face. I thought that was fun, but I decided pretty early on that I was like, I'm going to take out Mrs. Chan, I think.
Well, because she was the most like likable, like innocent, this is nice
Always
old
just
lady in the
taking care of
apartment.
us.
Let's just murder her.
Yeah, such a victim. It's such a shame.
Kurt, was she like just part of your backstory, or was that like an NPC that Dave?
She was
created?
just part of my backstory. I grew up in
okay.
that apartment building with my grandpa who died, and they were best friends. And sort of, she knew me as a child. And then when he died, she just sort of looked after me and did all my laundry and made me soup all the time.
Oh, wow. And then just murdered.
And then
And then murdered for nothing, just for being adjacent to Caduceus.
just too close to
Those
Maynard.
bastards.
Yeah.
That was one of the other things I guess I don't know if I don't want to critique the Two-Headed Serpent as a campaign because I thought it was great, but I thought that they could have done more with Rose. And that was something I tried to do, well, because it's interesting. The way the book lays it out, they give you the three factions. There's the Dreamer, there's Caduceus, and there's the Inner Knight. But they don't tell you which one's going to be the enemy at the end. It kind of just depends on how the campaign goes. And the way you guys really focused on Rose and the Dreamer. But Rose is kind of wimpy and shitty. And
Interesting.
I wanted her to be
I was
more
scared of her like that.
Well, that's
Yeah.
I wanted her to be more mysterious and terrifying. Like when you were with her with the whole Mrs. Chan thing, and like you trying like the spells where you're trying to walk and you go like your foot goes into the pit of snakes and all that kind of stuff. I just made all the spells up on spot. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna play her like a D&D wizard.
No way.
Oh, that's funny because that's how it felt. Like she's casting spells, and I was like, "Wow, I really didn't expect some D&D style spells to get thrown at me right now." But here it is.
But here we are.
That was totally like, she's a wizard. Fuck it, let's go for it. I want her to be scary. I want you to be intimidated by her.
Mission accomplished.
It
man.
worked. Yeah. She was super mysterious, and you never knew when she was going to pop up and destroy your whole world.
Yeah. That actually leads me. Sorry, Kurt. I was gonna say Rose leads me into like one of my favorite NPCs was during that Dave made. I'm not sure. I wonder if this guy was actually part of the campaign. I'm guessing not. But when you were at that ball, and I forget the guy's name, but
we screwed up
the hors d'oeuvres guy. Unhandmade. He was just like, I tried the hors d'oeuvres. They're wonderful. That guy was hilarious, and he was my favorite.
Yeah,
we screwed his name up. His name was Tom, and then we started calling him Stefan or something like that. But no, he was just a dude. He was just
a dude,
just a guy that came out.
You just made him up on the spot.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Oh, wow.
Just trying to improv an NPC that would be fun. I don't really know.
My old friend Lucian Saunders.
Yeah,
oh.
I was just like, I need an accent.
It's so fun to play off of him.
That was hilarious.
That whole party scene was actually amazing. I was just going to say that Rose's whole mystique really started there, and the way that we focused on like the necklace that she was wearing, and I think her face was veiled, and like Lucian didn't really learn enough but needed to know more, and then we just started learning more and more about Rose, and she got scarier and scarier, and it was really well done.
Yeah, sweet. That was fun. The whole veil thing, that is part of her in the book. She has her face melted from canning. I think he puts acid on her or gets her in some way. That's why her face is always veiled.
Can we ask you about some other things that
ask
we
away.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to start asking Oklahoma, because we skipped an entire chapter at least of the story there.
Yep.
What did we miss? What would have happened?
We would have had 80 episodes if we had gone to Oklahoma.
Well, there would have been 10 more.
Yeah, you know what? There probably would have been. Oklahoma was a very role play heavy chapter that didn't really have anything to do with the campaign, which may sound weird to say. So basically, Joshua, they find out about this, radio signals that have these hidden Yig messages in it. And because Caduceus is Yig and the father of snakes and they worship him, they take an interest in him, especially Joshua Meadham. So they send you there basically to find out what's going on. And what you find out is that there's this weird preacher dude there who is starting to infect some of the people. Like one of the NPCs, like the guy keeps his wife hidden and he doesn't know what's going on because she starts to lay eggs like a snake. One of the other people like molts their skin off. One guy can't get hurt and he jumps everywhere. So it's like these weird freak anomalies that the preacher is blessing them with these gifts.
Oh, weird.
So it's very role play heavy. So I did, the only thing that sucked was that I spent a lot of time learning 15 NPCs and planning everything out. And then you guys didn't do it.
And
so
then we missed the train.
But there isn't
the train.
But again, that's something, and I believe I got this from Seth Skorkowski, who does those. You guys probably don't know him. He's got the YouTube series where he like reviews things.
He's so great. Yeah.
He is fantastic. And his Two-Headed Serpent series is one that I listened to a bunch. And he talks about that with Oklahoma too. He's like, it's kind of weird. Like Pulp Cthulhu is Cthulhu, but it's pulp. It's action-packed. You know, you're crashing airplanes and there's bombs going off and there's lizards people. But this one is like a slow burn. This one's almost like a normal Cthulhu adventure.
Like a normal Cthulhu, yeah.
Where it's kind of mystery. Mm-hmm. So I believe it was him that suggested to have you always report back to Joshua. So it's almost like a spy mission. And I thought that was a great idea. And I was going to do that. Because usually they just send you in and then he's like, okay, well, if I can figure out what's going on and I'll talk to you later. What's going to have you like, okay, you got to report back to him. And then if you tried to use their radio station or like phone from one of their phones, they would be able to intercept it. So you'd have to like go out of your way to find another way to communicate and relay messages to Josh, and he would give you more instructions. And I thought I could use that to ramp up the tension and the action if I needed to. If I thought it was going for a slow burn and be a bit boring, I'd be like, okay, Josh was like, you know what? Go here and fucking kill him and get his book. And because he's got some book about Yig. But it would have been fun. We would have had fun role playing. We would have done this and that, but missing it had zero impact on the campaign. Zero.
It almost just introduces you to the idea of like getting infected by the serpent DNA and turning into a serpent person.
Yeah, I can't even remember if it was actually like the DNA. It's almost just like these gifts and these blessings. Like you can kill the preacher and then he just comes back the next day. He just wanders into town. And you eventually have to follow him into this cave where you have a hard time getting into. You have to make all these power rolls, but you find like the preacher's old body. And every time you kill him, he just molts out of that body and comes back into town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
what was his name?
The preacher?
Yeah.
It's a good question. Let me find the Oklahoma. Chapter 5, I believe it is, in my book.
Lucian, refresh my memory. What was it that got you starting to turn into a serpent in the first place?
Reverend Cornfield was his name, by the way.
Like I think
Reverend Cornfield?
Yeah.
That was his name? That's funny.
Yeah.
I got, after the Borneo mission, when we got blown up by the first half-Durang device, I woke up in the hospital at Caduceus. And I was in perfect condition. And meanwhile, you were a wreck, right? You were trashed. And I'd had all this perfect healing. And I honestly did just like take it for granted that they had healed me. And it seemed weird almost that they hadn't healed you. Like that's what I would remember being like initially concerned about. And then it started to, and then I got injured a couple of times and I saw the scales and it was like, oh, this is a problem.
And didn't Goncalves claim that you would have died?
Yeah, then I would have died if they had.
They hybridized you so that you would heal and be stronger?
Yeah, but who knows whether that was true.
It was true.
Wow.
It was true. Basically, one thing I liked in that one too is when we opened that episode and I had the little teaser of like the surgery table and you didn't really know what was going on and they were like injecting and talking about that. It's like I was wondering how long they'll figure out until they realize that that's Lucian. I put a lot of thought in Lanto being like, should I put like LS on a chart anywhere?
No.
But I thought that was fun. But basically going to where was it? North Borneo?
Mm-hmm.
Not South Borneo?
Not South Borneo.
North Borneo with the yellow fever. You have to make so many like when you guys crashed the plane, which was also one of my favorite moments.
That was a great episode too.
That was with Lucian being like, "Don't worry, Maynard, he's a pilot," and then crash into the ground. That one too. We talked about the visuals. That one was a very visual one for me too. When you're like saying that, and then it's like all the dirt and everything like come busting through the cockpit window as the plane crashes. But that was, you'd already put yourself at a disadvantage because all the people there, I shouldn't say all, a lot of them had already been infected or were carrying it because of drinking the water, eating the food. So you had to make, I believe it was Christopher went straight PPE right from the fucking beginning.
Right.
Which is what you needed to do to avoid making all these checks.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I remember thinking he's so paranoid about this.
No,
Yeah.
he saved. So they talk about how there's all these checks and, infect any of the characters. For me, I wanted to just stop. I was like, once one of you's infected with it, you'll make them make some more rolls, but I don't care. Those rolls are all just illusions. I wanted one of you to be infected because once one of you's infected, then therefore you will be hybridized. That's just how it rolls. So once
That's
you
right.
once you
yeah.
failed some saves, I was like, sweet. You made a few more saves. I didn't even fucking care what they were.
That's right. That's right. There was Goncalves explained that it wasn't the crash or that wasn't the explosion that killed me. It was like, we had to do this to you because of the yellow fever. You had to be treated.
Yeah, he
with the
eventually
DNA.
initially they told you it was like internal injuries and they had to operate on you and you were in rough shape. But then he eventually came clean. And all of that is true.
That's interesting. So it's not necessarily part of the campaign that by the end of it, one of us is turning Serpent.
It depends. I suppose if Lucian had died, it almost guarantees though, once you come out of Borneo, one of you will have the yellow fever, unless you pass all your tests.
Right.
But it's unlikely.
Which is hard.
I would have
It
just
would have
kept
been-
throwing them at you.
Until someone,
Until someone eventually failed. So the odds were stacked against you quite a bit. Because it would have been interesting if no one was infected. You wouldn't be able to enter the temple with the little
That's
lizard.
what I was
someone
thinking.
I
We would've
guess
had
that's
to
why
fight
they make you
the
do all
snake.
the checks over and over and over again.
Sorry, Russ.
That's
Your
okay.
name's Joe.
It's
No.
okay, man. What were you saying?
I was just saying if we don't have the crown and the scepter when we show up to Snake Island or whatever it was called where the portal was, then
Moo?
we have to where Moo was, then we have to fight the 100-foot long snake, and instead Lucian just rides it to victory.
Yes, 1000%.
It's like a
Right.
boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, Snake Island, you would have had to fight it. And it's interesting because it talks about how if you come in on a boat or you fly in, you guys still had your orbs,
Mhm.
which I loved, by the way. I don't know if I was supposed to do more maintenance, quote unquote, on the orbs, if they're supposed to last that long or air. But I just love the fact that you guys were zipping around in orbs. So I was like, let's just fucking go with it.
Yeah, we love that too.
But the snake was going to smash you out of the sky and smash you down to the ground and like smash your orb and have you stranded on this island of snakes where there's just these vipers everywhere.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so
How did we survive?
I don't know how we could have survived that.
I know it would have been crazy. But that's why you had the anti-venom and
That'd be so anticlimactic to just go
Die
for
on a beach.
35 episodes and then we all just like die of viper poisoning on some beach.
yeah, because they talk about how you can't get it unless you go to that warehouse where you found that dude and then you fought the serpent people there. You guys never ran into Goncalves there. You guys jetted.
Yeah, he was on the boat at the dock and we ran.
No, he wasn't.
off.
He was in the town. He was
in town? I thought
yeah.
he was on,
Didn't
okay.
we saw him talking to some people or some kids or something
No,
when we were
you
sneaking
heard,
around that?
You heard the kids because they had their little kids all over the place looking for you or keeping an eye out for
Little
you.
birds.
Yeah, and they talked to the one guy who I can't remember who he used a few spells on you in the warehouse. But Goncalves is a powerful sorcerer. He's human, but he's human,
What?
but he's got spells.
What?
No
And
way.
One of the spells, one of the things that I was actually really looking forward to doing, but it didn't happen.
Do it now.
All right, a small child approaches you in the street, Russ, and he hands you a folded piece of paper.
What are you doing? Get away from me. And I smack him.
No, please, you need to take this.
Okay, fine. Stupid kid.
You open it up and you see a sigil written in green with an eye, and the eye blinks at you.
What the? That's not. I flip the page over and back again, like looking on the back of it. Like, what the?
Nothing else,
Weird.
just a scrumpled up piece of paper with this drawing on it.
Okay, that's not very powerful, Dave. That's just a little illusion. Like, it's pretty lame, actually. This
Then
is
you
Harry
hear
Potter.
screaming from that little boy. And you look over and you see his shadow has started to wrap around him and go into his ears and his mouth and is starting to suffocate him and strangle him. And then you look down and you see your shadow start to move.
Okay.
Are you scared yet?
Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, then you would have had to
What?
then you would have had to find Goncalves, who is close because he's controlling the spell before
Right.
it kills
Okay.
whoever looks at the blinking sheet. So the little boy looked at the piece of paper before he gave it to
Oh
you.
my god.
Okay.
Wow.
At this
That's wild.
news, Maynard, also known as Kurt, how upset are you that you never
Sometimes.
got spells? Because I
I'm
think that
kind of upset.
wasn't that what
I-
Maynard
Lucian-
wanted like the whole
I
time.
wanted
Yeah,
to-
Lucian really wanted
I
something.
wanted to give you spells so bad. I was taunting you with Rose, like, take the book. Take the book. I already knew what spells I was going to give you if you had taken the book. Even if you're going to betray her after, you're going to get that fist of
Maynard
whatever.
was trying too. You were trying. I mean, we went to the library. You spent a lot of time at the library,
Yeah.
or the used bookstore
Mm-hmm.
as
Mhm.
well.
Oh yeah, we talked to that Norwegian guy or
Oh,
something.
that was always drunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, forgot about that.
You did get
Ah.
the super powered gravity box weapon at the end that
Yeah, that was
was
pretty epic.
almost a game breaker.
It really
And
was. I was
when-
annoyed at it, to be quite honest.
I think you also had, the worst rolls in any session
Yeah,
episode.
I
ever.
curted it. That's
Like-
what I do.
No, not you, Kurt. I'm talking about Dave in the last episode.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just terrible bad luck. Like
I did have some bad ones.
constant shit rolls.
And
Yeah,
if
that was
anyone
wild.
out there ever thinks about it or doubts it, I will not fudge a roll. I will roll the dice and happily kill you. I'm fine with that. So it wasn't me being like, oh, there's a critical success. Oh no, he missed again. Gee, Willikers.
Yeah. I love that about playing with you guys too. Like, I don't think I've ever had an ounce of doubt that anyone's fudging their rolls. We've just fucked up too many rolls at really important parts.
Yeah.
You know, and
100%.
made really good rolls at times where it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you get really lucky. I got really lucky either the last session or the second to last session. I remember every single roll was like under 20 on the percentile dice with my new set of dice, and you guys were like, let me see those dice.
Yeah, I think
It was
as
amazing.
a GM, if you're going to determine what the outcome of the roll is before the person rolls it, then don't fucking roll the dice.
Mm-hmm.
Do something else. Let the dice tell their story. Your story shouldn't get derailed by a failed dice roll, or just fail forward. There's many ways to fail forward. It's a lot of fun that way. So no man.
Oh yeah, like
Roll
if you're
them shit.
rolling, if you got a hot dice and your character has a handgun or a shotgun or something, and you're just blasting through enemies.
Mhm.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's great time. And then if you're also failing sanity checks and constitution saves or whatever else, and your character's slowly slipping into insanity and temporary sanity loss, that's also fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Or if you're rolling critical failures or fumbles and you shoot the pilot in the plane and then you have to take control of the plane and you crash it. That's
Yeah,
fun. Also
That's
fun.
super fun.
That's super fun.
Don't worry, Maynard. He's a pilot. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was great.
I thought that we had a ton of really fun battles throughout this campaign. Sometimes the battles can really drag on in certain games, but I thought that they were just really full of action and lots of fun in this campaign. Do you
Yeah.
guys have any particular
Yeah,
favorites?
everyone's favorite battle.
Windsock Saunders.
Oh,
In the army camp? Oh my God.
Saunders with his pants around his ankles.
That's only because you got to run around like a hero throwing dynamite at
Yeah,
everybody.
Yeah, exactly. My dice were hot and I was killing everything.
Good
It was
God.
great.
Yeah, you did that all
And
by
you had your
yourself.
pants down.
Maynard was cowering in a tent.
yeah, you
Like,
didn't do
was getting
anything.
tossed around with no pants on.
You had your 2 hit points and you're just trying to stay alive.
Well, so then on that note, my favorite fight would have been the fight in the restaurant in India where he faced Meadham and his
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that
it's
was cool.
That
Flunky?
was super fun.
because again, hot dice and and Lucian was a gigantic hero in that battle. So
Yeah, you were at the
that's
end
going to be
'cause-
the through line here is that we're going to pick battles that we did really well.
I believe in the beginning of that battle, you got laid the fuck out and boot stomped a little bit.
I did. Yeah, and then I gave it back.
Is that the one in the hotel in India?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite battle scene as well. I thought that was epic.
Oh yeah.
Against Meadham and
you guys are
I keep
behind the
forgetting-
bar.
What's the big guy's name again?
Canning.
Canning. Yeah, that was fighting
He's
on the
got that
bar,
crazy
and then
tongue that like grabbed you and was dragging Lucien.
Yeah, that was insane.
You stabbed Meadham in the
I
foot.
stabbed the guy in the foot. Yeah, that was awesome. Dave gave me the mechanic to slow him down just a little bit. Like that was not really part of the game, but that was excellent flavor.
Yeah, that was fun. I gave his shield spell where you shot him with the shotgun. That should have taken his shield spell right away, but I was like, I'm gonna make it a little bit more tense. So I let it on for one more attack, just to a little bit more fear.
Wow. Hey, why didn't you do that for the Dreamer?
Oh no, that was
You wanted the Dreamer dead. That's
No,
all
well,
right. I get it. I
okay,
get it. No,
wait,
it's
here.
okay. I understand.
I'll retract that a little bit. I misread the spell at first,
okay.
and then realized it partway through the battle and just rolled with it.
Yeah, okay.
But I liked that Meadham one. I like how he sprang in like a ninja, and you guys were like, "Wait a sec, what?"
Yeah, that was crazy.
He like covered all that ground, and he was right in front of you.
Kurt, did you have another favorite?
That was the one that I was thinking of. There's not any other ones that really popped to mind, but I loved that hotel fight scene. Just the way that we were super scared of finding them in the first place and being, we didn't want to have an altercation. But then when we were having an altercation, all of a sudden it's against like two superhumans.
Yeah.
And
I seem to remember Maynard just wanting to run away.
I did want to run away at first. Yeah, I definitely did. But we made it out of there alive.
Well, somehow, I don't know if we should have. We weren't in great shape for that fight either.
India was
There
a
were many
fun
fights we
fight.
were in great shape for.
Our very first battle is it not Borneo, in
Bolivia?
Bolivia, with the alligator dogs. That was pretty fun too.
That was a super memorable battle.
I screwed
Yeah.
up.
You
all
really
the-
almost
yourself
died in the
alive?
first episode.
Yeah.
It was funny because we talked about that in the banter in the opening. Because Kurt was like, Maynard Clayton's gonna go the distance or something,
Yeah, that's right.
and then we're talking about wouldn't that be a nice badge of honor? Then I think it was Joe that was like, it'd be a pretty cool badge of honor dying on the first episode too. But I screwed up the
almost
gunfire rules. Big
Oh
time
yeah,
on
we
that
messed
one.
up that for a while.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all right.
we figured it out.
We
though.
messed it up even for everybody. So
Yeah,
nobody-
yeah, consistently fucked it up across the board.
Yeah.
I
I
enjoyed.
liked that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, you go.
I enjoyed in Iceland where you guys found the internet facility and Rush just drove the Jeep in and like sent it flying towards
Yes.
Serpent people and started blasting. That was fun, I thought.
All of a sudden, we're in a fireball fight using the Jeep as a shield in the
Yeah.
hallway.
Yeah, that was cool.
pretty cool.
Well, and then didn't you say that, Dave? Like actually in the episode, you're like, driving the Jeep into
Yeah,
the facility
didn't
down the hallway.
expect
Didn't expect that.
The Jeep. I like how that too. Where it's
Oh,
like
yeah, the Jeep
Jeeps
was really
weren't
funny.
invented a decade later or whatever it was.
It was like a 20-minute side tangent. Like, wait a second. Is it a Jeep?
Russ had to apologize because he sent the Jeep flying into like the Serpent people with you guys still in the Jeep, and he rolled out of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
You remember how awful Russ was
Bye.
to Gunhilda, whose Jeep it was or whatever?
Christ.
He hated her. I don't know why. I don't know.
Yeah, you were really offended that she didn't want to come up with us and rescue her brother.
I
You were
was
so
looking
upset.
just for like a goat,
Right.
you know, like a sacrificial, someone that could cannon fodder for us to absorb the first round of bullets, and then that's all.
I think,
That's all I was doing.
thinking about
funny.
like if there's any parts of the campaign I thought were, I guess, awkward. I thought the opening of that was where you're just driving to the volcano, then you get attacked by the troll that's kind of like half stone. I thought that was kind of a
Mhm.
weird.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of weird in all honesty. But
Yeah. It's kind of almost shoehorned in.
yeah,
a way.
yeah, it was.
Oh, there's a troll. Oh shit. Okay.
I think they wanted to find a way to introduce it and show the Vormies and stuff like that, and maybe you make the
Mhm.
connection to the drawings in the cave at the beginning with the big hairy people, which we eventually made that connection. But yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
kind of just weird, but it worked. I liked how he could rip off parts of his stone body and throw them at you.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I thought there was an awkward moment right at the end when we go through the portal to Mu, but we're not inside of the castle, the citadel yet. and getting across and trying to understand the siege battle that's going on. And it seems like there's danger everywhere. And yet we're just sort of able to like walk through to the castle.
Yeah.
That felt a bit awkward to me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I remember being confused by that, but I did enjoy the from the portal to the castle, like just like the weirdness of all the creatures
landscape
that
and
we
everything.
were encountering, the landscape. I thought that was like pretty cool, and the way Dave, you like had the environment like interacting with us, but then they weren't exactly enemies.
It was just
They
it
were-
was just
They were kind of
Different.
friendly, but it was weird, which was cool.
oh good. That's what I was kind of trying to portray. They don't say much about the battle. They basically just say that I believe the words they use are that everybody's distracted fighting each other so that the player characters have no trouble getting there. And I was kind of like, oh, that's weird. And then you make a little bit of luck rolls and see if some serpent people see you off to the side. So I just rolled with that. But yeah, that part was a little awkward. And there's, another thing, when you use the scepter to like stop it from phasing to get in, that wasn't part of it.
Interesting.
Oh, cool.
That was just something, again, maybe it was from Seth Skorkowski or from someone else, was talking about how there should be more scepterism in the campaign and
Value in the scepter, yeah.
and how that's maybe something you could consider. And I was like, you know what, that is a good idea. And you did mention before, like, the scepter is kind of nothing now.
Mhm.
There really isn't much to it by itself. You can control snakes, like normal snakes.
Yeah.
Well, gardener snakes.
Yay.
So there wasn't much. I tried to drop a few little hints, like they congregated in your backyard in New York where you were holding it in the safe. And when you guys came out of, I think it was in Brazil, I tried to put some snakes around. But yeah, it was. So yeah, that was just something I tried to add in to make the scepter feel a little bit more important, I guess.
Did
It
you
was
add
great.
the snakes in the crown when he put the crown on his head and the snakes
that's in the
drilled
book.
in?
Oof, man.
I was so excited when he was going to put that on. I was like, oh my God, he has no idea what's about to happen.
No, I
can't
really
wait.
didn't.
I can't wait for them to drill
was,
into his head.
Horrible.
I want to be able to memorize it in the book so that as I say it, I can watch Mike's face on the Zoom call.
Oh, man.
Just be horrified by it.
Whatever happened to the mafia?
Oh yeah, so you guys, so that's another part you guys missed. You could have went with the mafia. They're gonna blow. They're like, I was trying to convince you to go with them. That one was maybe even a little bit awkward because I didn't expect you guys to say no. But you could have went to Caduceus. They were basically planting bombs in the building. You would try to convince them not to do it, but that also gives you the opportunity to raid Meadham's office, get some more stuff. Another chance, I was going to give Kurt a chance to get spells in that way as well. There's more artifacts in the building you can get. I tried to give Maynard spells so bad. Even just a couple.
Funny.
Even just a couple. But yeah, so they
You didn't
basically
try hard enough.
So they basically blew up the Caduceus. That's the thing. You guys never
Wow.
went back to New York, so you don't know what happened to the Caduceus building.
Well, because we died, Dave.
Because you killed us.
We technically killed ourselves.
The dice killed us.
Yeah, the Caduceus headquarters got blowed the fuck up, basically.
Oh, okay, like demoed.
Yeah, they
Okay.
blew it up.
Yeah. Okay,
Wow.
cool.
That's the other loose end that didn't get tied up that I was wondering how it was going to go, and I was just going to kind of wing it and see how it goes, was Connors.
Oh,
That's my
right.
favorite
Okay.
NPC.
So what
He was
happened
good.
to him? And there's
Connors
no
is
way
fun.
he was supposed to be that important in the real story.
Tom was better, in my
No,
opinion.
he wasn't supposed
Connors
to
was
be
great.
important at all. But they don't, like, I'll find it when they talk about Connors, they basically just mention that he smokes a lot. And I was like, all right, I'm going to roll with this.
You did not just roll with that.
I'm going to add 10 exclamation points
ran
on the end of that.
with that. That was funny.
That I had so much fun playing Connors. So one of you called me out on it partway through an episode too. You're like, man, you have too much fun with Connors. He was so much fun. Where is his there's the
I
mafia.
think Joe was messing with the dial on his oxygen tank at one point.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, my chest hurts.
He was like taping cigarettes all together to make one big one.
There's one paragraph on Connors in this whole book.
Wow.
Oh,
And
wow.
it says, Connors is a man who has fallen for the lie, believing Caduceus is fighting its own secret war. Also, I didn't even give him that much knowledge on it. He works on the 7th floor and is the pharmaceutical quartermaster. He's in charge of ensuring that all orders for new supplies are placed on time to comply with contracts. He's close contact with planning teams. It's a hectic job, lots of paperwork. He keeps on top of his shit. Description: overweight and spectacled. His hair is plastered to his forehead with sweat. He smokes like a chimney to the point where there's a thick haze of cigarette smoke hanging over his office. He's keen to climb the ladder. He's always asking the heroes to put in a good word about him.
Right.
And I was just like, I don't know why it went so hyperbolic with the smoking.
And the love for us, like he got really into us, and we were the only people that ever cared about him. I love that.
You guys had nicknames. What was the? Oh man, I wish I could remember more about those nicknames. He had one. Shit.
Yeah,
For
I
Connors?
don't remember the nicknames either.
Yes, yeah. He wanted a nickname for you guys with the team. It was.
He wanted one.
Yeah. Oh man, I have to go back and listen to that episode because I thought that was fun.
Were there any other NPCs that we kind of missed out on getting more information from because we didn't, I don't know, pursue them or
going to Joshua Meadham's estate would have given.
Oh yeah, we never
more.
did that. Yeah.
They tried to get you with it a little bit, Lucian, where they was asking you, talking about your gift. And if you wanted to explore that more and this and that, they basically could have got you right into the whole cult and made you a full-fledged like servant of Yig and giving you the full hybridization.
Never. Tyrannesh all the way.
Yeah, Team Tyrannesh, baby.
Team Tyrannesh. That's right.
No, not really. I don't think there was many NPCs. You guys didn't really do anything with the mining company in North Borneo. You guys went straight into the forest, and then shit went down with Shapiro.
And we lost Christopher.
Yeah, and you lost Christopher. That was a good scene too. Where you're like, "Where is he? Where is he? He's gone, Doc. He's gone." No, there wasn't really. Like say, you missed Oklahoma, which was a shit ton of NPCs, but nothing really pertaining to the story.
Nothing that we could have like continued a relationship with the way that we did.
I think you would have. It would have brought Joshua Meadham more into the story, and perhaps you could have built a relationship with him, or at least get him more loved or hated by you guys, depending on how it kind of would have went.
Interesting.
No, I'm kind of glad it went with Rose and Tyrannesh. And I was wondering which one of those two. And then when you killed Tyrannesh, I was like, sweet, it's going to be Rose at the end. That's pretty fun.
I can't imagine it going any differently. But
I agree. It needed to be Rose at the end, I thought.
Yeah.
What happened with Rose at the end?
Yes, killed her.
How did we kill her again?
The gravity device was too strong.
Oh yeah, old cube boy down there.
Yeah, just smashing people and blowing them up.
Her to pieces.
Yeah, we were in that giant round room, and then we went downstairs. Yeah,
Maynard's 90 to pow helped a little bit.
The Citadel was an interesting one in the book too, because they specifically say don't play it like a dungeon crawl. There's no map for it. There's none of it. They have to go this way. Get them to make a tracking roll every once in a while, and occasionally drop in some encounters. So I just basically dropped in all the encounters, just trying to stretch it out a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And trying to make it a little bit more interesting. But we could have rolled right to the end. And
what were those?
Oh, go ahead.
Razor flies or something that were in there.
Was
one of the
crazy.
random encounters. Those were amazing.
Yeah, the razor flies, they just devour anything. The lizard people are terrified
Love that.
of them.
Like piranhas.
That's the thing too. Those degenerate serpent people. One thing that you guys talked about when you saw the siege, your guys were like, is it Caduceus? The internet? Who is it? Basically, those are like lizard people who lived on Mu. And the ones that are in the Citadel have been trapped there for so long, they've basically gone insane. So all the ones on the outside are just lizard people from Mu trying to get into the Citadel, and the whatever they were called was trying to protect it. And once they realized they were going to lose, they were trying to destroy it and topple it into the volcano.
Can I make an official apology to any of our listeners who are
This is your
annoyed
second
about
official apology.
how we consistently flip back and forth between calling them serpent people and lizard people. I think there's a listener out there. There's at least one that's like, can these guys just fucking call them serpent people and leave it at that?
Serpent
we've
people
all
do
done it.
not.
It's so funny.
When was your
Serpent people do not appreciate being called lizard people.
No, definitely. They're very,
It's
very
an
different.
insult. It's an insult. Yeah.
Yeah, your other official apology was on Lovers in the Ice when you started calling these guys by their real names. Remember that? That was fun.
Yeah, man. I could have
You
sworn.
were so
I
wrong
was so
on that.
sure too.
And and you were so confident
Well, I know.
in your wrongness.
Yeah.
It was
annoying.
amazing.
Those
it's not
were
the
tough
first time
names
that's
because we started a campaign and we had real names. Then we had agent names,
Mhm.
and then we immediately met a handler, and he gave us code names, and was like, "Wait, who are we?"
Yeah, you guys. I remember being with the vignettes. We're off track now. We're talking about a Delta Green.
Yeah, we are.
But you are we on code names? Yeah, we'll stick with code names. And then you guys both blew it and mentioned your real names. Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, my God.
What else about the two-headed serpent? That we should
Well,
touch?
what was your? I'll ask Mike because he's the role playing master, I would say, in the group. What was your favorite role playing
Oh, nice.
scene?
Hmm.
I know mine.
What's yours, Dave? Mike's thinking.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dave.
When Mike was discovering that he was hybridized with scales in the Caduceus laboratory, when he was freaking the fuck out and ready to blow Goncalves' head off. I really enjoyed that part.
That was good.
That was fun.
Yeah.
And Maynard trying to talk him off the ledge. And actually, you know what? That's one of my favorite moments in general. And Russ at the dentist. That part kind of came out of nowhere about how, again, you just failed to roll and smashed your teeth in. And then you had to talk with the list for a little while, and you made a dental appointment.
Yeah,
And then Caduceus
That
was
was
like,
great
we can
too.
fix them. Oh, I get some.
that was a fun episode where he smashed his teeth in too.
Yeah.
Because that was during like the warehouse,
Yeah, down at the docks.
siege, I think. Yeah, and then Russ was like, "Swim down there, go get that, swim," or something like that.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
Yeah, when he was trying to, and you kept failing your swim rolls and you're stuck under the dock and you're about to drown. Oh, that was fun.
I did enjoy any opportunity to like get really elevated. Like there was
With
nothing
that
more
voice, when
joyful
your voice would
than
go
when
higher.
Lucian would
Often.
just
Often.
like, oh sweet, I can really like lay into getting frantic about this. My French rival was delicious. You played him
yes.
so annoyingly.
Oh, God,
I just
that was amazing.
Fucking hated him so bad.
Patrice.
That was really good.
It was
That was
great.
fun. That was another
Patrice.
gift.
Mhm.
He was a gift, just like Mrs. Chan was a gift as well. Someone to get when you had a rival, and they have a dude in the book who is exactly what he is. I just made him Patrice and was like, oh, here we go. This will be fun. Lucien Saunders.
It was.
Oh man, the way you guys would bicker back and forth.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, I
so
enjoyed
good.
that.
I liked how Maynard rubbing it in Lucian's face about riding the Tyrannosaurus. That was
Oh
great.
my
Watch
God.
this.
That was the
2 steps
highlight of
backward,
Maynard's
and 2
life.
steps forward. And I walk him over here, walk him over there. You couldn't do this, hey Lucian?
That was a good chapter. The paste
was
eater
fun.
too was fucking so funny.
And that one started when we had been separated. I really loved the scene where Russ and Maynard had gone down to the secret level at the Caduceus
Mhm.
building and through the portal, and then we wake up and we're in, is it Uganda or where were we?
Yeah. I think that's right.
Yeah.
I can't remember where we were. Yeah.
And it's just the two of us, and Lucian's not there, and there's these doctors telling us everything's fine, and we've been here for 2 weeks from a plane crash, and we're like
Yeah,
on this
I like
investigative
that.
mission to find out what the hell's going on. That was really cool. And that led all the way to like finding Lucian in the jungle with Patrice and the T-Rexes. That was a really cool chapter.
And the paste eating.
And I did get a note from someone that you were right. They did make paste and stuff like that to eat at that point in
I know.
time. You're
I didn't need you to confirm.
the Belgian Congo. That's where you guys were.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry, that's right. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. How you guys played the paranoia and like going in and calling that official who has also been infiltrated and watching the nurses sneak around, and then you guys had to battle them. That was Yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. The diamond mine in general was also pretty creepy too, I thought.
Well, it was another great one for you, like bouncing back and forth between us.
Yeah, that was fun.
You know, like what fight starts and the nurse is just about, and we're going to cut away to Lucian, who's,
Well, then we just
Yeah.
kept cutting back and forth until the moment where we like eventually met
again.
up.
When the
Yeah.
medical supplies got dropped and you guys, which was a nice little like, okay, well, they can all see the medical supplies, so this will bring them together.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was fun. I liked Lucian's and that one too, when like he had to come out of the pyramid and there's all those like just drones of people just walking around and
Oh yeah, and you recognize them as like Bolivians and people from the street in New
people
York, and
that Caduceus is just snatching.
Okay,
doing,
so
doing their experiments on them.
this remembering this episode and that arc through Africa, if Maynard was closest to death in the very first episode, we got his head blown off, and Lucian was, I think, closest to death when he was facing that Tyrannosaurus in the forest. I don't know how he managed to miss me.
Yeah.
Because I would just remember I just like supplicated myself in front of him, expecting
There
that
was
maybe
I failed.
be-
Oh yeah,
and I failed a
that's
crucial
right.
role to get you.
Yeah,
it missed the
it was
coup
an
de
attack
grace.
roll,
Yeah.
and you missed the coup de grace, basically. So, Russ, when were you closest to death?
Closest.
Do you remember like that? That's it for
Oh,
Russ.
man.
He's
It was
done.
just before the phone call from Caduceus. Just kidding, that's dark.
I rarely took a lot of hit point damage. Like I'm trying to think. It's funny you mention that because I was thinking about Christopher, because Kurt was talking about how like you took so much damage in the first episode, and Christopher took no damage up until he died.
Right.
Yeah.
like, that's right. Not a
he was-
single one. Yeah.
He was just tanking the whole time and like killing bad guys and like being this hero, and then whoop, snuffed out of existence in an instant.
I'm off to Iceland.
yeah. I'm off.
I don't think Russ. I can't remember a time where I was like nervous. If I look at my,
I think Dave really likes you, subconsciously or consciously, and just doesn't want to hurt you.
maybe
That's what it is.
that could be it.
Dealing with like we touched upon, dealing with Tiranesh on top of the roof. If she'd got a hold of you with a few spells, you would have been snuffed out of existence as well pretty quick, I think.
No. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at my character sheet, like actual sheet, and I'm looking at my hit points, and because I just keep writing a new number.
Right.
Oh, good.
My character sheet's a mess.
Mhm.
Like it's an absolute disaster. But like I started with 30 and I just kind of hovered in the 20s for a long time. I got down to 15.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was the lowest I got.
15's like full hit points for Maynard.
Dude, I love
Yeah,
this is
I got
this
down
is
to
home.
15.
Oh man, this is home. I live here.
I was just
I
listening to
live
that,
here.
This is home.
Yeah, that was
the perfect delivery.
yeah,
You
no,
guys are
that
so funny. Oh my god.
You know what was a sneaky good scene that really stuck out for me and I thought really set the tone for us was when we got back from Bolivia and we had been like shipped back by Caduceus, and we get to the airport and we've had to sit and not talk to each other about this crazy experience because there's army dudes everywhere.
Mhm.
And then we try to like talk in the car, but it's too awkward with Shapiro there. So we get out and we like huddle under an umbrella and argue about whether we're going to steal the artifacts that we found in Bolivia or not.
Mhm.
And then Lucian insists that he's not giving them over to Caduceus and takes off and then gets chased through the night by what turned out to be the mob, but we didn't know, you know. And I just thought that whole thing like really set the tone for where we were headed.
You're right, because we could have just returned their artifacts, right? Like there's I
Yeah.
guess there's a way to play this game where you just completely buy into the Caduceus.
Maynard was
Kool-Aid.
drinking the Kool-Aid.
I was thinking that.
I was drinking the Kool-Aid hard for the first 15 episodes.
Yeah. It'd be wild to go all the way to India thinking that you're working for Caduceus that whole time. And would you still fight Meadham in that hotel if that were the case?
I don't know. It
I don't
depends
know.
how far you'd
I
come
guess
at
the
that
conflict
point,
with
but yeah.
the conflict with Meadham might not happen until Moo.
Maybe
Potentially.
now Rose is the enemy and you're still working with Meadham at that point. I
Yeah,
don't know.
maybe. Crazy.
there's a lot of like each chapter you go to, if the players still work for Caduceus, if they like, there's a lot, they should be getting a little paranoid by now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it was fun, man. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought you guys did a great job playing your characters. I loved all 4 of the characters, and I know that Christopher died, but Russ was fun, man. Russ was fun.
Yeah, he was.
That was good.
I have a question for you, Dave.
Yeah.
I want to know more backstory on the Meadums. What is the family drama? What split up Rose and her father?
Also, basically, the Serpent people. Let's let me find that part here. The Serpent people infiltrate Caduceus. So the Caduceus Foundation, Joshua Meadum in 1912 sold his pharmaceutical empire he'd built up over the previous 30 years. It was a surprise move. He acquired a reputation as a cutthroat businessman. Everyone was like, what the fuck? He took the proceeds of the sale and used them to find...
Oh, did that say that in the book?
No.
Everyone was
Everyone's
like, what the fuck?
Summarize that part. Then he took the money from selling his company and started Caduceus. But no, where does it talk about that? So he formed Caduceus after encountering an intelligent and hostile creature more reptile than man. Cthulhu is a serpent man that Meadum had met, and they killed Joshua Meadum and stole his likeness.
Wow.
So when
the Stulathan.
Yeah, Ssulith.
We never face tugged him.
Well, he's the boss.
We did.
It might not have worked on the face tag either, because some of them are like, they can wear the skin, but some of them have stronger magic, so you can't really do the face tug. So given the key role that Joshua's daughter Rose Meadum played in the organization as her father's emissary.
Mm-hmm.
Caduceus decided to replace her as well with a serpent person named Sashanal. So as Caduceus grew and built a respectable reputation, the inner cabal became concerned that their actions may attract the attention of other serpent people. In particular, they were worried about the various cults of Sathugwa, might attempt to interfere or subvert them. So basically, the inner cabal of Caduceus sent a group of agents led by Rose Meadum to eradicate some inner night people, but it didn't go well. The only survivor of the mission was Rose, Sashanal, and odd to find herself in the presence of Sathugwa, she abandoned her worship of Yig and her loyalty to Caduceus and dedicated herself to the glory of Sathugwa. So then she spent 8 years undercover in Caduceus to unify the Inner Night and do all the work. And then, well, she named them the Inner Night, and then she branched off and tried to directly oppose Caduceus.
Awesome. All right.
So that's how that part rolled out.
Okay. That's cool.
It's interesting that they were sort of replaced basically by these
the
serpent wizards.
Serpent people, yeah. Yeah, and Caduceus wanted to establish the third serpent person empire. And you guys screwed it all up.
Yes, we did.
So they were all bad.
Yes,
right?
we did.
No, not Tiranesh.
No, Tiranesh would have killed you, and yeah, she had no problem. Her goals were her own.
She would never do that to me.
What are you talking about?
Lucian has Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
That was I think a lot of fun.
I do too, man.
Lucian's obsession with her, and then I think it played into Russ's paranoia too.
It did play it in really well. And
that was, I think, my favorite like role playing scene, or I mean, like dramatic intense scene, was in like the stairwell and on the roof with Lucian, because Russ was like kind of growing with the characters and like starting to trust them, but he really didn't trust Lucian's obsession.
Lucian kept saying
Queen Mummy
shit, right, about how it's gonna be okay and she's on our side and we're all gonna be one big happy family.
It was also
Yeah.
it was always so hard to really trust Lucian because he's like obsessed with the dreamer, but he's also like turning into a serpent, and like sometimes he hates it, and sometimes you're not sure if he loves it. And like,
Totally.
I think for the Russ, it would probably would have really in that moment pissed him off because he was like his character was kind of dynamic in that moment where he was kind of changing. Like he wanted to like bring these guys in as friends, but it was pissing him off that he couldn't trust Lucian because he was being so manipulated by the Queen Mummy, and now he was potentially thinking about killing him because of it.
Right.
I think that was really cool.
Yeah, I did
that
enjoy
episode, that scene.
the tension between us. But it was funny, like there were times where, like, especially I remember when we were on the island of Mu in the end and we're moving through the forest, and Russ gets really confrontational with Lucian, and I really I was like in my mind like how does Lucian like get out of this? Like how do I like how would he like legitimately convince Russ that he can be trusted? Yeah, that was an interesting moment. That was tough.
And I liked it, Kurt. I like how you played Bandit 2. You were always like the little bit of the peacekeeper. And there you're always trying to diffuse the situation. When Lucian was losing his mind, you were there to try to calm him down. It was a good dynamic between the three characters, for sure.
Yeah, Lucian wanted to keep the team together. He trusted both of them regardless of the way that Lucian...
You said,
what did I say? Did I call myself Lucian?
Yeah.
I've done that a couple times. But yeah, I don't know. It just that felt like the right role for him to play, and he wasn't too put off by Lucian's transition. It seemed pretty interesting to him. Really,
yeah, I was gonna say, probably a little fascinating.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, super. He's like curious. Maybe I could learn something from this. And,
because you didn't seem
become more
threatened
powerful.
by it the way.
How do I get
Russ
some of this
did, yeah.
hybridization?
and will it give me any spells?
You're right.
Can I get a hit of that hybridization? Well, gentlemen, that was an absolute blast. I want to thank the three.
It really was.
That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Every session we did, everything we recorded, going back and editing and listening to it again, it was fantastic, man. I thought we had a lot of fun. Did a good job.
Yeah, it really was a blast. Thank you, Dave. You were great. I am surprised by how much I enjoy actually listening to these episodes as they.
I thought it'd be weird
out.
to listen to us after, especially being the ones who played it. But whenever one comes out, I'm excited, man. I throw it on and listen to it, and I get excited when people I know are listening to it. And
it's my favorite podcast.
It's great. It's weird though to like hear Dave crack a joke and then I laugh and then I hear myself laughing in the episode.
Right.
Yeah. Or I'll hear Russ, saying something, and in my mind, I can think about how I want to respond to that,
Totally.
and that's what
and
Lucian
says.
says.
And then you say it. Yeah, I've done that too.
Yeah, 100%, man.
You're like, that's what I would do.
Yeah, that's so we're going to should we tease what comes next?
Oh,
we got a couple little
people know.
We got a couple little side projects we got to do. That way we're going to keep secret because we don't know if they'll come out and go into fruition. But we are going to do another campaign, and we're going to switch it up to Delta Green.
Which, yeah.
Man.
Which we love. We love.
Yeah, Delta Green is amazing.
We want to put a strong emphasis on the role playing. We want to use their bonds mechanic, which I personally think is one of the best mechanics in any game. It fosters such strong role playing, and it gives me as the handler so much. What do we call them? Like the little plot knives. So many things to stab you with.
So many, yeah.
But you also stab yourself by deferring your sanity onto it. So it's awesome.
And I love the way that something really serious can happen in the middle of a battle or in some scene, and it happens to your character, but you don't really see the consequences until after you get some downtime and you get that engagement with, whoever your bond was, and you see how this is affecting your personal life, not how you were affected in that immediate moment.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. I'm excited about it. I won't stringing together some things. It'll be a bit of written campaigns. Don't you even start with me, Joe.
Dave's trying so hard not to give out.
I'm not going to spoil anything. Here's basically the entire thing.
So here's what we're gonna do. Now it's gonna be some Delta Green pre-written stuff that they have out, because I also think that their writing is some of the best in
It's so
tabletop
good.
role playing.
I love Delta Green.
They're for those of you who don't know it, check it out. Their art's incredible. Dennis Detwiller does all the art. Caleb Stokes. There's so many of them, and their writing is amazing. So we're gonna do that, and then we'll also put in our own flavor and do some of our own thing. But it will be it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited about it. We've been working on it already, and I'm excited to let it rip.
I'm excited for a game in a modern setting. I think that leads to some really fun role playing that you can relate to. And I'm looking forward to that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Me too. The other short Delta Green scenarios that we've played out have probably been, well, I mean, aside from this campaign, it's been some of my favorite stuff for sure.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man. It's a lot
Wow.
of
Well,
fun.
I can't wait,
Super
Dave.
creepy.
Lay it on us,
Awesome.
man. Next week.
Next week.
We start next week?
No, we don't start next week.
I'm
I
ready.
got a side project for us for next week.
Okay.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, he's teasing us for real.
All these teases.
Ooh.
All right. Well done, guys. We've completed our first long form podcast,
Yeah.
a long campaign.
And thank you to everyone
And
who, if you're
Published it.
listening to us right now, you've made it to 40 episodes and maybe even more with our other stuff of us blabbing and rolling dice. And I don't know,
Having
man,
fun.
it's pretty awesome. So if you're still listening to this, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's
Definitely.
Yeah,
it's been
Thank
great,
you.
and we hope to provide more bad accent work and entertainment.
The
Can you
next
give us a
campaign's in
Heathcliff?
Scotland.
Yeah,
Heathcliff on the way out.
Send us off in Heathcliff.
I can't do it. I'm laughing too hard. Can't do it.
Thanks,
all I can
everyone.
think of
Thanks,
is Tony
guys.
the Tiger. Yeah, it's great, or something like that. So I'm just gonna.
Oh God, that was bad. You shouldn't have.
That is so not
shouldn't
Scottish.
have.
Cut that. Cut
I
that.
wish you
I'll
did
edit
that
that.
post.
I'll
Cut
edit
that in
that.
post.
We're not a geography pod. We're not an accent pod.
No. All right. Cheerio.
Thank you for listening to another episode from Actual Play Entertainment. Please rate us, review us, and subscribe. If you liked what you just heard, give us 5 stars and tell your friends. If you didn't like it, then tell your enemies. You'll show them. And for more information and content, visit actualplayentertainment.com.
Hey, I'm role playing here.